So in this video, what we want to do is have a look at some terms that are used when we talk about people earning incomes and make a distinction between some of the terms we hear that sort of get used a little bit freely at times, but they sort of mean different things, but people try and use them and make them sound like they are the same thing. And the first one we look at is what we call wages and salaries. Now, you might know people who are on wages and salaries. Um, so what difference between them is that if we're talking about a wage there, that's where people are paid by the hour. So when they are advertised, they might be advertised for, say, a plumber who gets be paid $32 an hour. So it might not be per hour, it might be per day, it might be something like that, but it's per period of work. So it's usually shorter periods of work there. So it could even be 15 minutes or half an hour. Usually it's the hour though that people get paid their wages. Now we compare that to a salary. So salary is where a person is just paid a certain amount for a whole year's worth of work. So for example, a teacher is an example of that. A teacher may be paid, say, 83,560 every year. So that doesn't that what that means is that no matter how many hours they work, that's how much they'll get paid. So a teacher is an example of that. A lot of people in management are similar to that. Because their hours will be different depending on the weeks they work, then they will get paid a salary. So it doesn't matter how many hours a week they work. They'll get paid the same amount each year. Where wages, the more you work, the better it's going to be for you. So, for example, if you work overtime, you can get paid more. If you're just working normal 40 hours a week, you get paid for those 40 hours. Now, in addition to that, we get these sorts of things, and these are what we call penalty rates. Now, over time, you might get things such as what we call time and a half and double time. So things usually happen when you work overtime, or if you work on public holidays or weekends. There's big debates at the moment. Small businesses want to try and put pressure on the government to drop penalty rates on weekends, which can often affect younger people as well because they're the ones who are often working on the weekends there, so they're not making that much per hour, but when they do work time and a half or double time for public holidays, they get a bit better money. So what does it mean by time and a half though? This is what where people are paid what they would normally get paid per hour plus half again of that normal rate. So for example, if you've got someone working in a shop and they get $12 an hour, but on Saturdays they earn time at what they call time and a half. So 1.5 times their normal rate of pay. So for every hour they work on Saturday though, they would get $18. So instead of their normal $12 an hour, they get $18 because you just multiply it by 1.5. Double time's even better. So lots of public holidays are double time. Even if you can get it triple time or double time and a half. So sometimes it just depends on where you're working and what the situation is. So say someone working at KFC, they may get double time for Sundays. So if they get $11.10 an hour normally, then on the Sunday they'll get double that. So $22.20 an hour. It's nice money. But also you're working, you're getting it basically because you're being penalised because you're working on a weekend outside of normal hours. So that's what those type of penalty rates are like. So you might get at public holidays uh, or weekends, things like that. Another, I suppose it's a penalty rate, but it's an extra that we get in Australia, and it's called leave loading or holiday loading. That's really nice because in Australia, and this is pretty unique to a lot of into Australia compared to a lot of places in the world. Going on holidays, you're going to get 17.5% extra for your for your 4 weeks of holidays, which is pretty good. Unfortunately for teachers, though, even though we get 10 or 11 weeks holidays each year, we still only get leave loading on 4 weeks of our holidays. So we get a little bit ripped off. I suppose we can't complain about the holidays, though. Note that this is not paid to casual workers. So if you're working as a casual, you're really not in a full-time employment. You're not permanent. So you've got to really be permanent to get that holiday pay because casual workers don't get paid holiday pay. So they've got to be a permanent worker. So if you're saying, well, I work as a casual, but I get holidays, and I get paid for my holidays, then you're really not classed as a casual worker. Someone's class casual worker only works here and there, and but they don't get paid any benefits. So they don't get paid sick leave or holiday pay or things like that. So that's but leave loading really nice, unique to Australia. We like it. Other types of ways you can earn money. Now this one's called piecework. Now not many people work on piecework, but these are people who might be manufacturing clothing, things like that. But they're making individual pieces, and what they do get their money for is by every time they produce something in their work, they get paid for it. So they get paid per item. So if they're in a factory where they're making shirts, may get paid $1 per shirt. So the more shirts they make, the better, the more money they'll make. So that's what we call piecework. It's a little bit different. And another one is called commission. Now you might have heard of that, and some of your parents may work on commission. Now, and this is where people in sales often will be on commission, because really it's an incentive for them to make the sales and do better, because when people are on commission, they earn a percentage of whatever they sell. So the more you sell, the bigger your commission would be. Makes sense. So if you're in a business and you're trying to get people to sell things, well, that's an incentive. It could it could be a hard way to make a living if you're not selling much though. So an example here, a real estate agent, and they may get 0.25% of the sale of every house. So if house sells for 450,000, the real estate agent gets 0.25% of that 450. So they'll make $1,125 from that sale of their house. So that's how much income they'd be getting. So it can be a tough way to do it. I personally wouldn't want to work on commission. I don't think I'm a very good salesman, so I don't think I'd be able to do that. But people are quite happy to work on that at times, because then they're good at what they do, and they can make it. They can make their money because they can make their sales. So there's a few ways in which people earn money. There's other ways you might be able to investigate and see as you go through. Also, what you may want to do is talk to people as you adults as you see them, and ask what type, how do you get paid? Is it a wage? Is it a salary? And you'll find out how different people earn their money. Don't be rude and ask them how much they make, but you can ask them how they make it, and what way they get paid. So it'd be interesting to see the range of different people and what one's more prevalent. So there's a task to do, but this is what we see a lot of times with our in types of employment and how people make their money, and we should really know about all those.